Welcome to Take a Beat, a podcast dedicated to those who are wanting to hit pause on the hustle, get clear on your direction, and head toward the life that you envision. Today's episode is an interview with Nan Saysana, who left a 2-decade-long career in teaching to become an emotional eating coach. Nan joins today to share what inspired her to leave a stable job and career in the French civil service to pursue a new passion of helping women overcome a challenge that she herself experienced and worked through. Take a listen to hear more of Nan's story, including how her love of learning led to both her teaching and coaching careers, how she's navigating entrepreneurship, and why she wants others to know that change is possible. So welcome, Nan. Thanks so much for coming on and for joining today. I know that you have an interesting story of pivoting, being an English teacher for many years, and then moving into becoming a coach, especially in the realm of emotional eating, which sounds like it was sort of a passion and almost felt like maybe a calling in a way to help others through something that you had also kind of journeyed through yourself. But maybe to start off, just to give people a little bit of your background, maybe sharing kind of your career journey and what led you up to this point of being a coach.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, first of all. It's really a delight to be here. And so I became a coach because for 30 years, ever since I was 16, I started binge eating. It started with a first diet that I did at 16, and I lost some weight, which of course, as many people do, I regained immediately and then some. And so I was always wanting to lose weight, but restricting and not being kind to myself. And so I would always go back and forth. It's this yo-yo dieting for 30 years. And I tried to change the way I ate. I tried to change the foods I ate, but nothing worked. And one day I heard a podcast. I listened to a podcast, which is why I love podcasts so much. And that's when I started understanding that if I was binge eating, it was because of the way I felt or didn't want to feel, rather. It was a coping mechanism not to feel a certain way because of what I was thinking about me, that I was a failure of my life, that it was not as good as I wanted, or my body, etc. And so I started to understand that. And I was teaching at the time. I was teaching English here in Paris. But then I loved so much what I was learning about coaching that I was studying it for me, and I stopped binge eating. I stopped emotional eating. I stopped snacking randomly, automatically. And I wanted to get more of it, because when I love something, I want to understand more. I want to get more of this. And so the coach who was helping me with my binging was offering coaching certification. And I was not really interested in the outcome of the certification, but I was really interested in learning more and studying more. And so I took the coaching certification. I ended up being certified in March 2019. And right after that, she offered some positions as freelance coaches for her membership. And so I thought, oh, why not? Let's apply. Let's see what happens. And I was hired. So that's how I became officially a coach. And when she closed the membership last December, that's when I started, spreading my wings and becoming more of an entrepreneur than I've ever been before, because I worked for her for 5+ years, which was really good for me to learn the skills or improve my skills in terms of general life coaching. But now, since last January, I'm really focusing on emotional eating coaching, binge eating coaching, and helping people, get out of this, because it's possible. Yes.
And what was that transition like, going from working more for someone to then being more independent?
Yeah. So it was. It was a gradual transition, I guess, because when I used to be an English teacher in the French civil servant system, it was a huge organization that's centuries old. And so I could feel whenever somebody had a new idea of, we could do it this way or that way, well, things take years, if to change if they change. And so it was an interesting way to work for this lady because she had a school where people could be certified but also learn to be self-coaching, and to see how fast things were changing, to see how fast new ideas, improvements were implementing. That was really inspiring. And so now I'm taking this with me in my own business, and just I'm so much faster than I used to be to make decisions because I'm coaching myself and so on, but also because I have had this example of, okay, to make a decision, it's we're um, we're we have an inspiration, we think that could work, we could be wrong, so maybe we're taking a risk, but we will never know if we don't actually take action.
Yeah.
So I want to know, I want to have data, and I'm really now turning into that kind of scientific way of thinking about my business, but also my life, which was never the case when I was a teacher, because I was always depending on the school system in France, and it didn't occur to me to initiate change. Whereas now, this is what I do every day, and so it's really interesting, to be this way.
I guess just to also get a little bit of background on your teaching career, because you taught for a long time and also sort of almost kind of stumbled into that career as well through your love of learning.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I became an English teacher, I want to say, kind of by accident, because so I studied English in Paris, and I had the opportunity to go and study abroad in Oxford, England, when I was about 21. And after this year, I wanted to stay in England. I wanted to stay in Oxford, but my thinking was, if I start working, and I stop studying, it will be very hard to go back to studies after that. So I wanted to keep studying. And the only thing that was available at that time, it was in 1995, 1996, so a while ago. The only thing that was available remotely at the time was to prepare for the competitive exam to become an English teacher. So I did that, and I loved the studies, studying Shakespeare, studying English linguistics, grammar, and so on. I just loved that. So I had a really great time studying, just learning things. And then I thought, well, since it's a competitive exam, maybe one day I will want to sit for the exam and really become a teacher. So why not take this opportunity and just take the exam now and see what happens? At least I will learn what it's like when the good time comes, the right time comes, then I will know exactly what to expect. So I did take the exam, the competitive exam, and I passed. So that was kind of a surprise, but a nice one, because I realized that I actually love teaching, and it came very naturally to me to share what I know, and I loved that aspect of that. Yeah.
So again, kind of like open to the possibility of like what could happen, or what's the worst that could happen if I just take the test.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
And I know we talked a little bit before about how teaching and coaching are somewhat similar, and I guess, but what was the transition like going from something that was more maybe secure to something that is a little bit more of a risk?
Yes. So you're right. There are similarities in coaching and teaching. The fact that I share my knowledge, and I help others, follow my path, or follow their path if they want to. Yes, those are similarities. But there are also differences in the fact that when I was a teacher, I didn't have to market myself. I didn't have to tell people, come to me, I can help you learn English, because English is taught in every school, from high school, even primary school, to university. So I had no trouble doing that, compared to my German colleagues, who had to list the benefits of learning German, because it was not a very sought after topic. So that was very comfortable from a teacher's perspective. I knew I would have plenty of students. That was not an issue. And now, being an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
when I started, I naively thought that it was going to be the same way, especially since people were saying that I was such a good coach. I was thinking, oh, people will come to me, obviously. Little did I know that it was not exactly the same. I was really picturing, a tap, and the tap will open and I will have a flow of clients. And I'm still learning, the skills of marketing yourself, of saying what is going to resonate with the people, to state their problems the way they would phrase it, to make them understand that the solution is available and accessible to them, and also to say it more and more frequently,
Yeah.
louder and louder, clearer and clearer. That's a skill that I'm really learning that. But because it's always a matter of words and saying things, I actually love it because
Wow.
it brings me back to teaching English and mastering. So don't think we can master or perfect anything, but it's still this idea that, ooh, I could say it this way, it could be even better. And bringing me back to linguistics, just that if we use a word instead of another one, it's because it matters, which is the same as in coaching. The use of one word compared to another matters. And so that's always very interesting. So it seems to all make sense to me.
Have you seen among your clients that you've worked with so far, have you seen like big transformations, or imagine that there's moments of pride in helping people to see the change that they want?
Yes. Oh, so much. Yes. Yeah. Proud. Yeah. Pride. And also a kind of disbelief, a kind of, ooh, are you sure that I help you do that? Because the transformation is so fantastic. I've got a client, Samantha, who was kind enough to do a little YouTube interview with me. And when she talks about her before and after, before thinking about food all the time, as I used to do, and then now when it's not an issue, and she's just realizing, oh wait, these pants are far too big for me. How is that possible? Oh, I've lost a bunch of weight. It's just, this is fantastic to hear, and how natural it is for her now to just, yeah, not snack all the time, not worry about her weight all the time. Just, it's a new identity. And now she's moving forward in her life. She sees other things that she never thought were possible are now
Yeah.
possible. So that's really amazing. Yes, a lot of pride, as you said, and yes, and I think the word is awe. It's just like, oh, it is possible,
Yeah.
and it's just it's magic. It feels like magic, but it's not magic.
It can feel like it, and maybe there's some truth in there. Yeah. Um, when you're working with clients, do you see common themes when they're first maybe coming to you, or when they're first starting that journey? Are there typically common themes among people that you're working with, maybe challenges, or yeah, I guess anything common among them?
Yes, yes. I think, yes, there are several things. I like your question. One of the most painful and unhelpful thing that I used to do all the time, obviously, is to beat themselves up. So they know that they're eating more than their body needs, and yet they can't stop doing it. So they blame themselves a lot. And it seems they often tell me that, and I used to believe that too. It's necessary to be mean to yourself when you've done something that you know is not serving you, because we think that it's the only way we learn, except that it's the stick, the carrot and the stick. One of your interviewee was talking about not so long ago. We think we really need to use the stick, except that we realize that the impact of beating yourself up creates the exact opposite of what you want. When you're not kind to yourself, well, you don't want to hear that negative voice, that judgmental voice in your head. So what do? You run away from it. And if your go-to pattern is to cope with food, that's what you will do. You will eat, which is exactly what you don't want to do. So this is what I do in a lot of people, beating themselves up, bullying themselves constantly, thinking it's the right thing to do when it's actually the opposite. So when I learned how to be kind to myself, when I learned that what I was doing was actually the best thing I could do, even though I knew it was not the best thing I could have done, it helped me relax and it helped me understand, which I couldn't do when I was so mad at myself.
Yeah.
And when I started to understand, then I could change. But we can't change if we are mean to ourselves. So that's really a big thing that I really help my clients understand. Being kinder, being compassionate, being understanding, being accepting of themselves. That's the first thing. And another thing that I see all the time is this all or nothing mentality. It's either I'm eating perfectly or not at all. And it's either I'm following a very strict diet, a detox diet where I can't have any sugar or flour, and I have to respect it all the time, or else if I have one little bite of a cookie, then it means I've ruined everything and I'm a bad person on top of it.
Yeah.
And then I go all the way there because who cares anyway, and it's over, and I'm not doing it right anyway. And so it's this going back and forth between two extremes that are unsustainable long term, that are not helping either way. And so what I help my clients do, and what Samantha, for instance, managed to do so beautifully, is to find this middle ground where you're not excessively restricting, but you're not also, overeating constantly, but you allow yourself to have just pleasure eating food, not shame, not guilt, but just pleasure, contentment, and it's so different. So, but that's a learning, that's a journey,
Yeah.
and it's a fascinating one too.
So kind of developing the awareness of what's even going on, and then being able to then make the change once people understand, oh, this might be why I'm doing this, and then here's what I can do instead.
Totally. No, absolutely. The first step is really to understand why you're eating
Yeah.
more than your body needs. And the second one is also about turning off or reducing the fear around food. The fear around food, the fear around your urges or your cravings towards food, so that then you can build trust or rebuild trust around food, around yourself. And then the third step is just to, easily, naturally eat when you're hungry and stop when you've had enough, when you're full. Yeah.
I think it's also interesting that you mentioned like being kinder to yourself, or, developing that skill. How did you start to do that? Or do you have any tricks or tips for people who might recognize, oh, maybe I could be a little bit nicer to myself?
Yes. So I first started being kind to myself when I listened to a podcast, which I don't think it's still available. I think it's no longer available. It was called Inside Out Weight Loss by Renée Stevens, and she wrote a book about that. What I did was, when I first listened to her podcast, I listened to it a lot because it was so new. And one of the things she insisted on is to be kind to yourself. Yeah. So I had to learn what it was like. I had to learn what compassion was like. And basically, compassion is, it makes sense that I behave this way because I'm feeling this way and I don't want to feel that guilt that I'm feeling, or that regret, or that despair or bored feeling that I'm feeling, or stressed feeling that I'm feeling. So it makes sense that I want to run away from that feeling that's not pleasant by eating food. And also, it's not the only option. I have other options. I could also do other things that I do like. It doesn't mean that I don't have, the treat if I want to, but I don't have to eat it fast against my, behind my own back or in secret. I could also, just savor it and really delight in every bite. And instead of feeling guilty as I eat it, which is not a pleasant experience. So I could really enjoy it and accept that this is what I want. And I'm eating food. That's what we humans do. Yes. So it's perfectly normal. It makes sense. So it's really normalizing the behavior, and also, remembering or explaining to ourselves why it makes sense. Because a lot of my clients I coach have had the similar experience as I have when they were a kid. I remember when I was a kid, if I was happy, of course, everything was fine. It was very, very much accepted. But if I was angry, if I was sad, then the message was really, well, I better change my mood because I guess it was uncomfortable for my parents. They didn't know what to do with this. So either I was supposed to be happy all the time, or if not, it was better for me not to express those emotions. And a lot of people are like this. So we were never taught anything about our emotions, what they are, what their names are, that it's okay to have emotions because we're human beings. So it's part of the deal. It's just like,
Whether you
things,
like it or not. Yeah.
settings in a phone. It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know anything about this. So it makes sense that I tried to run away from my emotions by eating. And that was my coping mechanism. Some people turn to alcohol. Some people turn to biting their nails. Some people turn to yelling, over cleaning, overworking, overspending. We all have our little ways to cope. Yeah. And there's also this way, which is to actually understand what we're feeling, accept that we're feeling that nothing's gone wrong, perfectly normal, perfectly valid to feel jealous, angry, mad, whatever. And we don't necessarily have to avoid those emotions or react to these emotions. If I'm feeling angry, I don't have to yell or slam doors. No, I could also find other ways to take action.
I guess when let's say there were times when you had been on a streak of, okay, I've got this, things feel good, and then maybe reverted to binge eating. How do you advise clients to then get back, so to speak, on track?
Yes. Oh, that's such a good question because I don't know about you, but when I have a project, when I have a goal, I think that it's going to be just like a high-speed train from point A to point B.
Yeah.
No bumps on the road. But of course, I'm being delusional. And instead of the high-speed train, it's more a roller coaster. It's just like we go back and forth and more Hades, upside down and so on. And I want to believe that's actually what gives us momentum when we're, actually having a setback, if we want to put it this way. This is when we actually learn something that's going to propel us even faster to the next train station, if we want to. And I also love to use the analogy of kids, learning how to stand tall, or to stand up, basically. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work the first time they try it. So they stand up and then they fall, and they stand up again and then they fall again, up and down again and again and again. And I love their resilience. I love that they keep trying. And also, as they go up and down, fail and stand up again, their legs get stronger.
Yeah.
And for grown-ups, that's what we call squats. So it's actually wonderful, and it's meant to be. It's like a design. You're meant to fall, you're meant to fail, so that then you get even better for the next step. Yeah.
I like that way of looking at it. Like it's like squats, that you're supposed to be failing and developing your thigh muscles, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But the thing is that we don't expect that. That's the problem. That's the expectation that doesn't match reality. But there's not a thing, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's never a thing that we got right the first time. When we learned how to speak, when we learned how to write, when we learned how to ride a bicycle or whatever, we didn't get it magically all of a sudden, completely fully. So it's a learning experience. So whatever we are doing, and that's part of entrepreneurship, we need to let ourselves fail. It's part of the experience. Nothing's gone wrong.
Right. It might actually be going right in a weird way, in an ironic way. Yeah. Were there times along your journey moving from being a teacher into becoming a coach, when you made that pivot, were there setbacks maybe that you experienced that actually turned out to be great learning opportunities?
Yes, I think that right now what I'm thinking is that the bigger opportunity that, of course, I viewed as a setback is the time it takes to actually move from this identity that I had of a teacher with the students coming to me to an entrepreneur who's actually being proactive and actively saying, hey, I can help you, to people. So really turning from passive to active. All these years when I worked for the life coach school, I was, being very impatient. I should have my own business. I should have my own private clients. I should have more private clients, But actually, the time I took, those 5+ years I worked for somebody else, were a blessing, because that's when I learned how to coach.
Yeah.
At the end of my work with them, I got a little recap of how many hours, how many coaching calls I had for 5+ years, and the number is just 8,000 plus hours of coaching calls. So that's huge. So that was nice to see that during those times, I actually took this time to be super confident in my coaching, because now I know that, of course, I'm not at the top of my game every day, but I can help people. I have this belief now.
Yeah.
So now I can focus on my marketing. I can focus on finding clients. Because if I had to do both at the same time, working on my identity as a coach and as an entrepreneur, I think it would have been a challenge. So now I can just focus on the entrepreneur that I am. Now I was about to say I'm becoming, but no, I am. So that was, at the time I was really being impatient.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing that, no, it happened for a reason, and it was perfect the way it happened. And now I'm fully present with what's happening now. So that's really good. Yeah.
So it helped you to build the confidence then in being a coach, so that is no longer something that needs to be worked on as much, because you feel that sort of inherent, I can do this, I've got this, and I'm willing to learn and figure it out. Whereas now having to learn to be an entrepreneur is a whole nother can of worms. Yeah.
Yes. And instead of can of worms, I like to think of a video game, So I reached level 1. I'm confident as a coach. Now level 2.
Yeah.
Being confident as an entrepreneur. And I'm so much more confident now today than 1 year ago. So yeah. Level 3 is coming up.
What would level 3 be, out of curiosity?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a good question. I don't know, actually.
Okay. But there's always another level.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you, looking back, might do differently than you knowing what you know now, or not so much?
Yeah, I think that, yes, well, as I was saying, stop blaming myself of not creating what I wanted to create, and start being patient, and start trusting that, yes, because I started by not trusting myself to take action. Now I know that I can take action, and I know the results are on their way. So yeah, I think that's now it's trusting that it's working, and maybe just things are happening the way they should. I know that a baby usually takes 9 months to come into this world for a reason. So it's the same. I've planted seeds, so of course they're sprouting, of course. But it's underneath, the roots develop, and they're invisible to start with. And one day, boop, a little sprout. And so it's just, yeah, it's working. It's this belief that it's working, instead of, I don't see anything yet, so it means it's not working, which is probably not true. It can't be true.
It's difficult, though, especially if, you're doing something you've never done before and you don't know what the timing is going to be or what to expect, to just sort of sit there and wait and be like, well, hope the seed sprouts at some point. Yeah.
Right. Yes. And I believe that entrepreneur, it means, to, I don't know if it's a French word, but entreprendre means taking action and doing things. So I think that it's instead of being passive and just, I've planted my seeds, so now, come on, sprout. It's just, no, keep. And I think it's fun also to try new things and to see what's working better than others, what I like better than others, what things are really not for me, what on the contrary I'd love to do more of. It's just, I think it's just, so I live in Paris, so I don't drive. I don't have to drive in Paris, but I take the bus, I take the metro. And whenever the bus has just left and I missed it, I like to think, okay, so I could wait for the next one, or I could walk to the next bus stop. And I like this about entrepreneurs, that they don't wait passively, but they take action. And I think that's the key to success. And somebody recently sent me an article by Paul Graham who said, so I think it was linked to the Silicon Valley and how the investors knew who to invest in, who was going to be successful and who was not. And the defining factor was relentless resourcefulness. So it's this idea that you won't stop and you look for the resources that you already have, the one you could build, so that you get what you want. And I think everybody is in some way relentlessly resourceful, or because they're emotions, you can build those emotions, you can create those emotions. Yeah. And you can develop, you can expand those emotions to take action, to get what you want. So I do believe that it's possible for us to succeed.
Well, and it just takes practice and time sometimes and not giving up. Yeah. I know that we had talked a little bit before when you were deciding to make the move from teaching into coaching, and which is more risky and entrepreneurial, that you realized that you could potentially go back to teaching, that there was a fallback option. How did that help you in being able to take that leap or take that risk?
Yes. So thank you for your question. So I guess that knowing that if I don't have the number of clients that I want or the turnover that I want, I could still go back to teaching. That really helps because then it means that I can always have an income, and I know what it's going to be. There's that kind of certainty, so it's reassuring. I know what it's like to teach. I've been there before, so I'm also thinking that it could be easy, even though it would be a different school, different kind of students, and so on. But there's this reassurance, there's this relief, there's this knowledge that I could be fine. So it is. It's nice to have this safety net, and also to think, when I walk in Paris, I can see the little the people looking for somebody for their position. So I always like to think that there's an abundance of jobs there, where potentially I could go, I could learn new skills, which I would love to do, and also I'm happy, and I think that's what keeps me going, is that I'm happy also to learn what I'm learning now that could help me move forward in my business, which is really, when I compare, being a waitress in a bar and being a coach, I'd much rather be a coach. So since there's learning involved in both types of situation, I might as well, develop what really speaks to me the most. So that's also helpful to put things in perspective, I suppose.
It definitely sounds like you have a love of learning.
Yes.
Is there anything else that or any advice that you might have for someone who's considering making a pivot, from something maybe they've done for a long time, but there's something else that they're feeling called to do and maybe they're on the fence? I guess what would your advice to them be?
Yeah. So my advice for them would be perhaps to maybe, just like me, have a kind of safety blanket, and knowing that they don't have to quit something cold turkey, but they could also have this reassurance that, and maybe start part-time or something like that, which is what I did. Actually, the first year I was both a coach and a teacher. I was teaching part-time, which made it more doable before I decided to quit. And so that you test the waters, so that you see what it's like, and it still feels kind of safe. because otherwise it can be very scary. And when we're scared, when we're petrified, when we're terrified, it's hard to take action from that place. So yes, to have this situation, and maybe to have your current job as an investor in your developing business, that can also be an idea. And to have a bit of savings, and to not to do what I did. So to be patient, to know that it's going to take a while, and to know that there are skills involved and that takes time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to develop also your curiosity is just what could it be like, and what are the opportunities? What are the possibilities?
I think that's great advice. If people want to find more about you or your coaching, where can they find out more about you?
Yes, thank you for this question. So they can find more about me on my website, which is Milo, Milo, bingefix.com.
Okay.
And I'm also very happy to offer them a free guide, which is called How to Stop Eating Everything After Dinner, that they will find on this on the free page of this website. And I'd be happy for them to reach out to me if they fancy that at nscoaching@outlook.fr. I'd be very happy to chat with any of you.
Awesome. Well, anything else that you'd want to add, or anything else that you can think of that I didn't ask that you think you'd want to share or is important to share?
Right, thank you. So what I think is really important is that is to know that it's always possible to change, even if it's just a little bit. But there's hope. There's hope for anyone, even for somebody like me who binged for 30 years and I thought there was no way out, but there was. And even when you want to change career, whether you want it or it happens kind of by a happy accident, it is possible. Even after a career of 23 years in one thing, even when you're 50, it's possible to change. And so I hope that we gave a little bit of inspiration, of hope, of optimism, that it is possible to change. And I do believe in change, and I do believe in the change that you want to see. I love that quote by Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world. So it is possible, and I love that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing some inspiration and for sharing your story and for being willing to do so. I appreciate it. And it was really fun to talk with you. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun. It was lovely chatting with you.
For more information on Nan, including her coaching practice, be sure to check out her website, which is linked in the episode description. As an additional note, if you're a career pivoter or going through a life transition and you're interested in redefining or reframing your story, check out takeabeatcoaching.com to learn more about a one-on-one coaching program designed to help you tell your story confidently. Thanks for listening, and take care.